Watch out, it's the warning track.
Welcome back to another episode of The Warning Track. I'm your host, Clayton McMahon, here on a little primary election day. Just rocking solo today because of that. Ethan, along with plenty of our other reporters, are going to be busy with that today and tonight. We're recording this a little earlier than we do on Tuesdays as well. This is just after 9 a.m. on Tuesday, May 5th. So should be a shorter episode. There isn't really quite as many news, at least not compared to yesterday when we're covering the whole weekend recap. There is some closing stuff, some injuries. We'll get into the Skubal Bowl news. As a Tigers fan, I'll try not to rant to you guys for too long. Just absolutely brutal. Frank Stanfill said it on the CBS show. The injuries, it happens every year. I feel like every year I'm complaining to my dad, who's in all the leagues I play, and is just, where are all these injuries coming from? Why is this happening? Supposedly, this is the most healthy people in the history of the world, and they're just made of glass. But we'll get into it. Like I said, kind of a lighter closing carousel today. The first thing I want to talk about is Caleb Killian, relief pitcher for the Giants, got the save Monday. His first ever save. And we talked about Ryan Walker yesterday, talked about him last week. He's been struggling. And so, yeah, we saw he did give up a run, but he got the save, 2 strikeouts, a 1.13 ERA on the year. I don't know if he's been in the bullpen the entire time. Caleb Killian. Okay, yeah, he has. So, and yeah, he's looked really good. I will say I think he was added in April 7th. Why? Interesting. Sorry, got a little sidetracked there. I'm surprised somebody picked him up that early in my ESPN league. Anyway, yeah, we've talked about Ryan Walker's struggles. Eric Miller actually got put on the injured list with a lower back strain, so that kind of lowers the number of people vying for the spot. I think also a thing that's notable is one of the few people that we think is Keaton Winn pitched in the 8th inning before Killian. So combined with all that, I think he's somebody maybe worth a pickup. Now, one thing I want to show, this will also just let me complain a little bit, is just how rabid the leagues I'm in are for closers, potential closers. So I assume most of you are watching local, but just in case there's somebody somewhere in the world that's wondering where we are, this is Eastern Standard Time. And Killian last night was picked up at 4:44 a.m. this morning, Tuesday morning. And I feel like normally I get up for work at 5 a.m. And I mean, I'm still sleeping while people are picking up guys. 4:44 a.m. And it's always like this. It's always like this in that league. And then when did he get picked up here? That was at 1:39 a.m. Eastern time. So maybe he's a West Coaster. Either way, it's just insane. As a matter of fact, yeah, that's probably when that game got done. Yeah, because the Giants Padres. So that makes sense. Either he was staying up really late or he's a West Coast guy, and that game got done at like 10 o'clock. Either way, very frustrating. You have to be on the ball to get closers in these leagues, very competitive leagues. So I guess I'm trying to think of names to compare Killian to. Like I think I would rather have Jack Perkins, the Athletics reliever, over him. I think I would rather. I'm actually blanking on some guys. Let's pull up the reliever rankings. I think I would rather have Gregory Soto over Killian, even though it's been quite a while since Soto last got a save. He's put up really good numbers, especially strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, he still only has 1 save on the year. But I think it's been a while since Dennis Santana. Either way, I think I would rather have Gregory Soto than Killian. Oh, 3 saves in the year. Who are some other guys? Oh, Jacob Latz. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of taking over that role. I would definitely rather have Jacob Latz than Killian. So I don't know if he's like the top name to go for on the wire right now. Although he probably is available in majority of leagues. I should have looked when I. 2% of leagues in Yahoo. So, if that tells you anything. So, somebody has to keep an eye on it. Like I said, I don't think it's too crazy. Another guy is Emilio Pagan, who blew the save, took the loss. He has earned runs in 3 of his last 4 appearances, so he has really just been struggling this year. Sitting at a 6.43 ERA. K numbers aren't the best. Yeah, he had some blow-ups early in the year. It's possible. Now, Tony Santian has not been the best himself either the last couple outings, but is still putting up way better numbers than Pagan. I think he's somebody to definitely look into. Ethan had him and dropped him. I can't believe he dropped him. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets picked up with a waiver claim, or it'll be like another 4:30 in the morning. When is this, Wednesday? Interesting. Yeah, he's already 15% rostered just in ESPN, so even higher in Yahoo. Speaking of, he also got picked up super early this morning in my Yahoo league. 3:01 a.m. And that's added from free agents. That wasn't a waiver claim that he would have did the night before and processed automatically. That was a legitimate ad at 3:01 in the morning. 3:01 in the morning. That must just be his thing. If you look here, he added him a couple weeks ago at 3:01 in the morning. Let's look at some of this guy's recent pickups. Yeah, because he would have picked up Cavalli. Yep, 3:01 in the morning. Dropped 3:45 a.m. Oh, that was by the Bambinos. But yeah, that just shows you right there. The Bambinos is one of the top guys. Actually, those 3 right there. Go back to Cavalli. In this league, it's usually these 3: Fielder's Choice, the Bambinos, and Techno Vikings are just somehow just going nuts with. Okay, that was a later one. Who has he picked up recently? Maybe nobody. Let's go back. I'd be interested to see some of the Bambinos. Anybody he's picked up recently? When did he pick up Dolander? Oh, it was in the afternoon. Okay. Yeah, he was able to get a hold of Logan Henderson. That was at 5:30 a.m. On a Friday. It's just insane. So, yeah. Got to be quick in these leagues, but I definitely think Santian's somebody to keep an eye on. What is he rostered? He's only 19% rostered in Yahoo, so that's still pretty low, lower than I would have expected. So I think he's worth a speculative ad if you're in a deep league or just have a spot to play around with. The last thing, and I don't even know if this really matters too much, but like I said, this was a pretty light closing carousel. Carlos Estevez is expected to start a rehab assignment today, which is, like I said, Tuesday, May 5th. I just don't know. There still have been no notes on his velocity. Yeah, none of these are saying what it was in any of the bullpens that I presume he was doing. So I think it's more of a, I don't know, deep league dart throw. I don't really expect much out of him. He's still 64% rostered in Yahoo, which I'm a little surprised by that. But it's also not like Lucas Urseg's just been the most efficient either. Because, yeah, he's sitting at a 3.77 ERA, which is okay. Very high whip, though. 10 walks in 14 1/3 innings. He's been good recently. It was kind of like right when he took over the role was a kind of a bumpy start. So do with that what you will. I think it'll still probably be Urseg who keeps the spot. And there's obviously no guarantee that Estevez will have his velocity back or anything like that anyway. So, yeah, I'd probably stick with Urseg on that one if you have to choose between one of the two. Now kind of getting into the rest of our notes, yeah. The Heartbreaker, Tarek Skubal. This is just, yeah, like I said, this will be a couple minutes of a Tigers fandom rant. I mean, it was nuts because Jackson Jobe, top prospect, was already out for the entire year going into the season. Then we lose Reese Olson for the season. Yes, I'm going to use we. Justin Verlander gets hurt first week. Casey Mize just got put on the injured list. We talked about that on the show last week. And now Skubal, who's probably going to miss, I guess, kind of getting into the note. He has not underwent the procedure yet, and there will not be a timeline for his recovery until that happens. That being said, elbow scopes usually keep pitchers out 2 to 3 months, so I don't think we're going to see him until, I mean, definitely August. I think even September, like late August or September is not out of the question. And so this is just why we don't draft pitchers in the first round, people. As much as I love Tarek Skubal, the risk is just too great. I mean, when you think of what happened with Crochet, even Skeens really hasn't been. And Skeens has been good. Skeens has been good, don't get me wrong. But 3.180 K per 9, just above 9. 4 wins, which is surprising at a .85 whip. But, I mean, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before he gets hurt too, probably. But yeah, if this doesn't convince you guys, I don't know what will. I don't think we should be seeing starting pitchers go until late second, early third round. I think it should be like quarterbacks in fantasy football. It's a shame. It'll also just be interesting to see. This is also not really a fantasy point, but just with Skubal being a free agent at the end of the year, will he have to take a discount? What does this mean for the Tigers? I mean, Tigers probably can't trade him. I don't know if they were planning on maybe trading him at the deadline. I don't know what their plans were, but this just completely cut it away. So very frustrating. Obviously, there are just no replacements for Tarek Skubal. On the waiver wire, I'm gonna look and see. And not really buy low, sell high candidates, but because I don't even think you could really trade them away. Because I mean, the fantasy playoffs basically start. Obviously, it's league dependent, but we're talking mid-August, maybe late August if it's a league that kind of wants to go all the way to the end of the regular season. But yeah, I think for the 2026 fantasy season, Tarek Skubal's probably done, and that's just brutal. That is so brutal. But there's not much we can do. Sel Marte, I have him in a league. I have Cole Ragans in a league. What do these say? Yeah. A lot of guys that I own, so they need to turn it around. And I'm sure not. I have Tatis too, so I am certainly not selling low on any of those guys. Fantasy baseball. Skubal replacements. I know, because I'm thinking of like a Jansen Junk. I mean, most of these guys are going to be owned in leagues I'm in. But, see, that's actually kind of crazy to me. That McClanahan's only 33% rostered in ESPN. What is he in Yahoo? Yeah, 81%. That can't be right. 33? Oh, my. Well, he's up to 34 now. That's actually kind of disgusting. And he's looked good his last 2 starts. I don't know what the velocity's been like, but 11 straight scoreless innings across the last 2 starts combined. ERA's down to 3.1, whip 1.17. Strikeouts just above K per 9. He hasn't really put up elite numbers yet. He's also not working deep into games, so in a league where quality starts matter, this is probably null and void. So, yeah, we're going to take these roster numbers with a grain of salt. Max Myers looked really good. Robbie Snelling? Huh. I don't know about that. Granted, like this article says, I can't even imagine he's more than 5 or 6% owned, and even in Yahoo, he's up to 10%. Wow. I guess if you're in a league with an NA spot, he's definitely worth stashing. But where was that? Yeah, Max Meyer. My guess is could I have him? Is it in this league? And he is up to 35% rostered. He looked fantastic his last start. 7 innings, scoreless, 7 strikeouts, got the win. He's looked really good so far. As this article mentioned, health is always a big concern with him, but if you can get him, I think it's worth it, especially with the strikeout upside he's showing. At least for some positive injury news is that Jackson Chourio returned. Funny enough, we were literally just talking about him on yesterday's show. Just surprisingly returned a couple hours before the game and had an amazing game. Went 4 for 4, 1 run, 2 doubles. Talk about an insane return to the team. I guess there's really nothing to say other than you spent a second round pick on him. He's going to be great. I think he's pretty much a lock for a 2020 pace. Obviously missing the first month of the season. He may not actually hit those numbers when it's all said and done, but the dude's a monster. I think the Brewers could definitely use him. They're dealing with a bunch of injuries. Obviously, he's been out. Christian Yelich, which I don't really think there's been an update on for a while. I feel like we haven't talked about Yelich in a bit. On-field BP. Yeah, I'd say notable. Who he was off to a really good start himself. So, like I said, not really much you can do about it, but I think it was just cool to see Chourio come back, and for managers who spent an early round pick on him, big boost to the squads. Jose Soriano, I think, talk about a classic sell high candidate, and I think you maybe still can, but he definitely came back down to earth last night against the White Sox, too, of all teams. Funny enough, he's actually went up against the White Sox his last 2 games and has given up a combined 8 runs over 9 innings. I think the thing that's plagued him a ton is the long ball. He's given up 2 home runs in each of his last 2 starts, both losses. ERA is up to 1.74. The number's still a great season long, but I think it's ridiculous to think that he's going to be putting up the numbers he is now. So potentially try to trade him if you can. I don't really know what you could get for him. But Yainer Diaz, kind of another closer, going to bite the dust. He's out and expected to be placed on the 10-day injured list with a left oblique injury. This is according to a report from MLB.com. Now, he's been, I would say, not the best, especially considering how deep catcher is. 248 batting average, 2 home runs, 14 ribbies, 7 runs. Most of the Astros, aside from Yordan, have been struggling, so I don't really know if this matters a ton. I think in single catcher leagues, if there's a Dylan Dingler out there, which he was in one of my leagues, it was the one where I had to drop Agustin. I would even say Gabriel Moreno could potentially be out there. So you have options. And honestly, I'm not really too excited about Yainer Diaz anyway, so it's possible you just wouldn't want to switch him out regardless. A couple other smaller things. Michael Harris, the Braves have just been acting so weird with this, where they think he's healthy and he's not. He sits, he pinch hits. He didn't play Monday, and there's a report from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that Harris is being considered day-to-day after Atlanta left him out of Monday's starting lineup. And then there's a quote here in this note from manager Walt Weiss. An IL stint could be on the table, which I feel like we've been hearing for like a week now. The quote is, "You pull the plug on it if it starts to get worse at any time," said Weiss. There's a tipping point, right? We can't continue with this for another 2 weeks. I mean, you basically already have. If you look, if you look at his numbers here, he pinch hit here. It was out of the lineup. He pinch hit here, which was also a really clutch 2-run home run, and then did last night. Didn't work out. But that's what, 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's 4 games since the 24th, which is about a week and a half-ish. Yeah. So I don't really know what they're doing. I almost would prefer it at this point, even though I'd have to lose him on this team, obviously. Yeah, it's just been weird. It's been very weird. And I get that he's been good, so obviously I don't want to just completely take his bat out of the lineup, but, I mean, got to do something at some point. The Angels, this is kind of the last one. I don't even know if he's really, I guess he's only 11.5% in ESPN. He's definitely not been very good the last couple of years, but Yusei Kikuchi went on the IL with shoulder inflammation. Like I said, I can't say I'm really too inspired by him anyway. So I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, this is kind of a weaker day of news. Tomorrow, if we have time, we'll probably have to try to get into some waiver wire replacements a little deeper for Skubal, if possible. IL stashes, like maybe McAble, who I imagine has to be coming back somewhat soon. What team do I have him on? Should have kept it on the screen for you guys to see. Yeah, I mean, the last note on him was quite a while back, but said he'd resumed playing catch, so he's probably still a couple weeks out. But yeah, maybe we'll get into some more waiver wire replacements, buy low, sell high, that kind of thing. But until next time, I'm your host, Clayton Command. Thank you for watching another episode of The Warning Track. And until the next one, we'll see you then.
Watch out, it's the Warning Track.